Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Taste of RPGs. I'm Audrey, and I'm here with Christopher, Marissa, and today our guest is Roosevelt. And we are going to be playing Brindlewood Bay today, which is a game about a group of elderly women who are members of a local book club, the Murder Mavens, that roam around this small coastal community in Massachusetts, solving the copious amounts of murders that happen, I guess. So it's very like clearly based off of like Murder, She Wrote, a little bit of Agatha Christie. Like this is very much like a cozy murder mystery, mixed a little bit with H.P. Lovecraft, but we're not going to get into that aspect of the game as much today. So to start everybody off, I'm going to have you guys introduce your characters. So I'm going to have you say who your character is, what her style is, and what her cozy activity is. And then I'm going to combine this with another early part of the game, which is the cozy vignette. So I'm going to have you guys describe like a vignette of your character. And this is kind of like the equivalent of like in the 90s TV show, like what your character is doing during the like opening credits where they're like with a like baking tray or like their flower shears or whatever.
So my character is Agnes, and her style is the blouse barn. So she's, I'd say, not a very elegant lady. Hope that's not being rude to anyone. Her cozy activity is church. She loves going to church. Although I would say that Agnes has kind of not a naughty side, but sometimes she bends the rules to fit her own vision of how things should be a little bit. And so the cozy vignette is very much her talking at church and in the church basement, handing out snacks and maybe doing a little bit of gossiping at church over people's personal lives.
Okay.
I can go. My name is Muriel Wadsworth. My style is up in pumps, so I am elegant and always dressed well. I was a trophy wife for my dear departed husband, George Wadsworth III. My cozy activity is pottery, which I make in my home studio. And so my vignette would be maybe spinning some pottery in my nice room that overlooks the ocean, and then taking out some snacks to the gardener, maybe flirting with him a bit. And just driving around. Oh, I have a cute little red car, a sporty car. Driving that around town.
I love your sporty car specifically.
Agnes might have a few things to say about Muriel.
My character's name is Pam. I don't have a last name for her, it's just Pam. Her style is Home Depot, and her cozy activity is birding. So I think in her vignette, she would be supervising her small Girl Scout troop with her granddaughter and all her friends on what's supposed to be just sort of like a hiking trip and maybe some kind of like survivalist badge, but she's definitely turning it into a bird watching sort of outing. Probably she is notorious for doing in the troop. Yeah, that's Pam.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was wondering if I could speak to you all about a rather sensitive matter. I hate to interrupt your very important meeting.
Is this about the deacon?
Sorry, Krista. And he like looks at you, is like, no. Surely you all have heard about Albert Krause. You know, his body was found in the bay last week. Well, I hate to confess it, but I'm stuck. And if I don't get anywhere, his family is going to take their yacht and leave. So I was hoping, since you all read your books or whatever up here every week, you could help solve this murder, or like, you know, if you find something interesting, just pass it my way. But I just can't seem to get anywhere. No one will talk to me. So could you help me out?
That's real big of you to admit, Wayman.
I have nowhere else to turn, and I just hate to let these people go. I know one of these family members did it, and I can offer you this. And he holds up like a kind of small file, and it's like this file of somewhat personal information on these people, just to help get you started.
I glance at Agnes, who's probably pretty interested in that file.
Indeed. So what you're saying, Wayman, is that you need the assistance of our ladies group when the police force is not able to turn up any clues.
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly. We're just stuck, and we could appreciate some help getting
Wow.
unstuck. So
I-
obviously you'd be doing your civic duty to assist our local
think-
law enforcement.
We would be happy to help out, wouldn't we?
We would
I sure think we would.
be delighted.
Thank you.
All right, honey.
He looks very stressed, and he like picks up someone's, like, he like sits down, is like, oh, thank you. Can't imagine what a week this has been. And he like picks up like someone's teacup, like he just is like invited. And he starts telling you about a little more details about like what's happened. So this, about a week ago, a wealthy financier, Albert Cross, his body was dragged out of the bay and like dead, since it was his body. And the Krause family is here on a yachting trip. They're like a vacation, and currently their boat is anchored about a quarter mile in the bay, and the family is staying on the boat. And he's really in a pickle, because if he doesn't make progress in the case, he has to let the family go. So there are 4 family members and a butler on the boat, and he suspects that one of them killed Albert. So the surviving Krauses are Amanda, his wife, Sarah, his daughter, David, the son, Emily Krause, another daughter. I guess they have an extra one, I guess. And then their butler, Andrew, doesn't have a last name, doesn't need a last name. He's hired help. And all the people on the yacht assert that Albert just got too drunk and fell overboard, like you do when you drink on a boat and then can't call for help
I mean,
and then drown.
We've all been there.
episodes.
Pam's joking, but Muriel probably is not.
I'm absolutely not. Also, if you're drinking out of my teacup,
Yeah, right, I know. So the body is currently being held in cold storage at the fish market.
As ghastly as it sounds, I almost think we should go visit the body.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
I think that's step number 1.
Mhm.
I don't like bodies, but this seems like an obvious thing to check out before anything, before it goes missing or anything weird happens.
Yeah, it is weird that it's being held at a unofficial storage facility.
That
Yes.
does not strike me as protocol.
Or up to code.
Yeah.
I'm kind of code. Yeah, I'm not eating at that fishmonger again.
All right, so you guys, so like we sidewipe to the fishmonger or the fish market. What do you guys see that reminds you of why you love the fish market, or what about this place makes you hate coming down here? So y'all either love this place or hate this place, and there's not really an in-between.
I think Pam has tried a bunch of times to get into fishing and just has had no success.
It's far,
She's just sick of the smell at this point.
yeah, it's far inferior to birding. Like,
Mhm. Fishing is more her wife's purview. She's like, I'll come out, you know, I'll come for the quality time, but I'm not having fun.
Yeah, I usually have fish delivered to my house.
checks out.
Pam, do you want to talk to him?
I think Pam is like openly grumpy, like she's got her shirt pulled over her nose and she's like scooting on her rollator. She's like, I mean, I will if you want me to.
I mean, Agnes, you made me have more positive memories
I do indeed.
of this place as I look down with disgust at the fish guts near my very expensive shoes.
Right.
Yeah, the pumps that you wore to like the house.
And Etienne, are you storing a body here? We heard
By the
from
way.
the sheriff that you have someone in the back someplace.
He like looks very somber. He has the somber look on his face and like takes his head off, and he's like, I am, in fact, I'm storing the body of my dear friend Albert right in my cold storage. They found his body and it was just horrible. I would do anything for the Krauses. Albert lent me my first loan to get my fishing vessel, and I just wouldn't be here in life without him. So
You know,
when they needed a place to store his body, I was more than happy to put it right between the cod and the pollock.
you know, even though Albert and I were from different layers of society, we did sometimes attend the same church, and it would mean a lot to me if you would let us go and give him a final blessing on his journey.
Here, he like shows you to the body, I think, and it's like, here's poor Albert, and then he's like, I just can't look, and like kind of like goes to the side to like have a kind of like moment.
Right. So as I am saying the Lord's Prayer over his body, I'm also uncovering, removing the ice. I want to know what he was wearing.
Okay.
I want to know if he had his wedding ring on, if he had jewelry on. I want to look at what kind of shoes he was wearing, if he still has his shoes on.
Okay.
And certainly, well, I'm going to go through his pockets as you know, I will pat down his pockets as I'm just
respectfully
as I'm touching his body.
Okay.
See if
So
he has a wallet.
yeah, so he does have a wallet. And are you just gonna the whole wallet?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Albert if he would either give me a moment alone, or maybe there's a customer calling that gives me a second to slip my hand in and grab his wallet.
I think you can do it.
Okay.
Well, this is gonna be you like getting your clue. So like, and even better, like you notice the wallet and you notice like a piece of paper sticking out of it. So you're gonna snag that and put that in your pocket.
Great. Well, I sneak his wallet into my purse and head out of the cold storage room, and I get the attention of Muriel and Pam and give them the signal that it's time to go.
Okay.
I grab my cod too.
Don't forget the cod.
So while Agnes was in there, do either of you guys want to do anything with your time standing by the fishmonger stall, or are you gonna just like,
I mean, I'll poke around his stall a little bit while he's in the back and just see if, you know, anything seems out of place.
okay. Can you roll like a reason for me?
Sure.
I think.
I have a +1 to that.
He has left his like big like ocean like seafaring jacket like on the chair, like on the like what like the folding chair by like his stuff, and in the pocket you find a single diamond earring.
Right. I might like flash it at Muriel and be like, is this the real deal? And just like get her eyes on it as well before putting
Oh,
it back.
sure.
Mm-hmm. That looks pretty legit.
Muriel,
So-
it's probably one of the bigger diamond earrings you've ever seen.
So pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. Weird place for it.
All right.
Maybe he found it in a fish.
Oh, and Christopher, when you guys get out of the warehouse, I assume you all are not gonna hang around.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna scoot.
Yeah, so Agnes like opens up the like letter that you snagged from the wallet or the piece of paper you snagged, and it turns out it's a letter from a young vet. It's a love letter from a young military veteran to an A. It's just an initial A. And it is like clearly a love letter. Like there's a lot of like your eye, like I miss the color of your eyes are the same color as the sky, and you know, like all that kind of like overwrought
Yes.
poetic language.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a little bit much personally. But we go outside the building and the three of us huddle over it to read it together.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Is it signed?
It's signed, and you get from the details of the letter that's a military veteran, so it's signed Jimmy.
I think this would be a good time to rifle through that little file we got and see if there are any Jimmys, James, Jims in there who have military service history.
There's not a Jimmy mentioned in the file, but you do notice that Amanda Kraus is supposed to be hosting the 4th annual Warriors Ball in a couple weeks, and it specifically is a charity event for veterans suffering from testicular cancer.
I think it's time to finish up a jigsaw puzzle quick. We take a jigsaw puzzle break and then go out and talk to the family on the boat.
Mm.
How does that sound?
That sounds great. I think Pam's got her rollator, like her walker on wheels, and like she's got her little like tote bag dangling from it, and she grabs the jigsaw puzzle out of there. Like if this is their tradition, she's probably got one on the go.
Great, maybe we
Let's go
can
find a
find
picnic table.
Sounds great. I only do jigsaw puzzles of Venice, though. So after we put the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle together and we've talked to our fill and gossiped a little bit, I think it could be time to head over to the boat.
I'm assuming we brought some like scones or something with us as a pretense of like.
Sure.
I've always got Girl Scout cookies on hand, ready to sell on behalf of my granddaughter, which is not how you're supposed to do it, by the way.
You know, some comfort food. And then I don't know, yoo-hoo. Hello.
I assume you do it kind of confidently, and this like you see this like woman's head poke over the side, and she's like, hello down there.
Do I know which person it is?
It's not Sarah. You would guess it's probably the wife because she looks older, not daughter aged.
Yeah. Oh, are you Amanda?
I am.
My name is Muriel. I met your daughter once, and we brought you some scones we heard about the accident.
Oh, of course, come up. That's so rude of me. So you're a friend of Sarah's. Thank you so much for coming out here. And she like gestures you all to come up, and she's like already like looking at the scones like, oh, those look delicious. And like,
Do you have some tea? We could enjoy them together.
So I assume the event has been canceled. Is that right? In light of recent
would I have-
events?
oh gosh, Albert, of course, it was rude of me he would go and die at a time like this, trying to overshadow my gala. It just adds stress to planning this. I'm sure you, Muriel, you said your name was?
Yes.
I'm sure you've run a charity event in your time and you know what, you can't cancel these things. We've had a hold on the reception hall for over 6 months now. I wouldn't dare to. And honestly, the military veterans need our help. How could I cancel on them at a time like this? Please.
So I'd like, maybe while she's talking or maybe slightly distracted, I'd like to lean over to Pam and Muriel and remind them that they may need to use the bathroom.
I can yeah, do you want, I assume we had maybe talked about this before, if one of us is gonna go rifle through some drawers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Muriel, I might need a hand. I'm a little unsteady on this ship.
Oh, women
mind
everywhere.
coming with me?
I'm sure it's a challenge for you. The bathroom is and tells you like where to go. Like,
She like visibly twitches. Thank you.
And if you need help, just let Andrew know and he will come. You go into the next room you go into is like noticeably smaller than David's room. And it's kind of like sparse. And when you open up the like wardrobe, you realize why, because there's row after row of butler outfits just hanging, no other clothes, just the butler suits. So you're kind of like looking around in this room and you notice a list, like you notice a bunch of like you open up a drawer in like a very small, like the nightstand, and you see a bunch of receipts, and as you're like flipping through them, and the receipts for like really expensive places, it's like, I'm like testing the limits of what I know about rich people things, but it's like, I don't know, like Gucci bags and stuff like a lot of really expensive things, and like the totals on these receipts are like thousands of dollars, like more money than you would ever spend in like by a lot in like a single purchase.
Thinking about how both the daughters seem to be unhappy with the family. We've got the journal entries and the torn up photos.
Yeah. Which seems weird to do right after your father has died. Unless they did it beforehand and planned it all together. Because also David is unpleasant. Maybe all the kids did it to get their inheritance money quicker.
So I know that we're gonna roll to see if our theory was correct, but I feel like we need one more clue.
Okay.
I feel like we need a clue about what happened that night or who the murderer was. We have a lot of suspects. How are the two of you feeling? Is there someone?
I don't have a particular person.
I will also say, like, the way that this game is, like, the sorts of clues that you get are not going to be like,
right.
Yeah, I guess
It's
the nature of
cool.
it is it's
yeah.
supposed to
So
be.
like just to
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yep.
expectations set.
Sure.
Find
sure.
5 more clues and you won't get anything that's like, that's who it was.
Yeah.
Let's throw some theories out just for fun. Let's see if we get onto the right track.
Yeah. Maybe the wife did it. If she's having an affair and they had a fight, she could have pushed him.
Yeah, maybe he confronted her about it. Maybe the A in the letter is her. So he had the letter in his wallet, ready to confront her. It would explain part of why she's so gung-ho about this cause.
And not at all sad about his death.
Mm-hmm.
I like that for Muriel's theory.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Then Marissa, I'm gonna go ahead and have you roll because you came up with the theory. So you just roll, you roll 2d6 and then you guys and then you're gonna add 2, 5, and add 5.
Adding 5 is 11.
You say this and it's like you feel like the whole world is like clicked into place, and you're like, you feel really confident that this is the right thing, because you realize like Sarah, with her devotion to family, realizing that her mother has an affair would be devastating, and that's what, like, perhaps that's what caused her to tear up those receipts. And like maybe Andrew was getting gifts for like Amanda's young, probably much younger lover, and like so so you feel really solid about this. So as you talk this through, let's see.
I bet the earring for ATN is Amanda tried to like seduce him or bribe him to get him to not, share too much information. Maybe he overheard or saw something, but like every bit of it went over his head, so it was a wasted effort.
Agnes, Muriel says this theory, and you remember that as you were in that like long time that Amanda was like talking to you about like charity events and all that stuff, you remember that she had said something about like men being prone to drink and how careless they can be, and how sometimes it's just a wife's role to help them like reach their natural ends.
Okay, could we do the Golden Crown Mysteries move perhaps?
Sure. Yeah, what do you want to do? Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So this reminds me of something that happened to Amanda Delacourt, who is the fictional. There was, what was the name of the mystery? I'll get to that in a second, but here's the thing that happened, and maybe you guys can help me come up with the name of what mystery this was. There was that book where
The Case of the Golden Grouper.
oh
I don't know.
That's so weird.
do you remember that one where she was solving a mystery where someone had someone was framed as drinking too much and had an accidental death, but it was actually it was poison in the alcohol, and so she got the killer to confess by setting them up where they were gonna drink, and they had to out it as poison, or else they would be drinking it themselves. So maybe we could hang out with her again. We could corner her at her charity thing and figure out whatever her husband's favorite is, and try to get her to drink some of that from her own cabinet, or make her think she is, and then
like if she poisoned the bottle that she drank out of.
Does that make sense? Is that too convoluted?
I like it. That was a good book, but it was a little racy for me, I thought.
Do you guys want to do this at the, I think this is a totally fair plan. Do you guys want to do that at the charity event, or at tonight at her boat?
Sure, I think it should all be unveiled at the charity event. That's what I think. Because that would be a good episode of the TV show. That'd be a great way that the episode wraps up, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we get all fancied up.
Yeah, so we're gonna have like a quick little like montage of you guys like somehow sneaking on the boat and like stealing the bottle of alcohol that you think has been poisoned. And then is there anything else you guys want to do to prepare for this like event? Obviously this montage will end with like each of you describing your charity ball outfits, so okay, cool. So what outfits do you guys wear to the charity ball?
I think like a matching maroon like suit. I think is Pam's play. Maybe a tie that doesn't totally match.
That has birds on it, probably.
Probably, yeah. And instead of her tote bag on her roll later, she's got like one of her wife's nicer purses.
I have a Salvation Army sundress that only has a small stain on it, but I couldn't believe that it was only $1.50.
Wow.
So it's a bit gaudy. It is 100% polyester, but it has a great big sash.
Nice. I'm thinking something tight with a low back, a lot of sequins. Think Fran Drescher in The Nanny, but age it up a little bit, and that's it.
Any animal print going on?
Yeah, a little animal print. Yeah, like a red handbag.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you guys walk in with your like fancy outfits, and the like charity ball's already started, and you see Amanda in the distance talking to like a young man and like a group of people. So
You know, it's a really lovely event you put together. It's great that, you know, despite everything that happened with poor Albert this week, you weren't thrown off your game at all. You've still been able to put together this great event. I think, you know, he deserves a little recognition. Maybe, you know, now that it's here, now that you've finished off, maybe we could have a little toast.
I feel like Amanda's face during that was like, when you were talking about her, she looked really pleased, and then you brought up Albert and she was kind of like
Mhm.
annoyed looking. But she like plays along and she's like, yes, of course. Do you and she like looks for someone to like gesture to like bring glasses. So I think if this is probably the right time for you guys to be like, we brought stuff, if that's how you want to do it. And she's like, oh, okay, and like takes a glass and then says something like, to our well-deserving veterans, and like oh, I'm sorry, we were toasting to Albert. To dear Albert, and like,
Yep.
And Andrew was kind enough to bring Albert's favorite bottle of vodka right from the boat.
and she's like, that was nice of, and then she like stops and like looks at it and looks at you guys and is like, from the boat?
Yep, from the boat. It was his very favorite, we were told.
We thought it would be a good way to feel close to him, you know, to be drinking exactly what he himself would have been drinking.
She kind of smiles and is like, well, you know, it really is quite an event to be drinking hard alcohol at. Why don't we have champagne here? We could.
It's a special occasion. Why don't Andrew, if you would be good enough to, you know, spread it around, I think everybody would really appreciate this, you know, gesture.
And she
Yes.
looks
Yeah, get Jimmy a glass.
she looks
Yeah.
like really panicked when as soon as you mentioned other people drinking it. She's like, I don't think that's really appropriate for this sort of event. We have champagne. I don't think anyone really, you know, Albert just wasn't the most reliable person with his alcohol. Like, who knows? It's probably, you know, gone off or expired. Let me take that from you and we can get you some other alcohol. Because really this isn't fit for my consumption of most people. Albert, just, you know.
Well, that's all right. You know, if it's not for you, that's okay. I'm gonna, you know, cheers to Albert, and I'm gonna make it.
He like knocks it out of your hand. And then like so the glass like shatters on the ground and everyone like looks at it, and then she looks at you three and like kind of like has that realization that like the jig is up, and she like folds, kind of like sags a little bit, and she's like, I guess I can explain. He wasn't, Albert just never was a very loving husband, and you know, you can only be in a relationship like that for so long. I probably shouldn't have helped him on his way, but I really think that it was the best for everyone.
May God
I think it was.
you. Think of poor Job and all he had to endure, and you couldn't endure. Any time on your luxury boat with a husband that gave you so much. I'm sorry, I cannot condone this.
No, listen, you shouldn't have to stick around with a partner who doesn't treat you right, but you definitely don't have to murder them.
Yeah.
So I imagine you guys had like Wayland in the wings, and so
Yep.
he comes out at this point and arrests her and like takes her away, and Jimmy looks suitably horrified and kind of like it seems like he wasn't in on it. And we'll cut to you guys like
Well,
thinking you're putting the little vodka bottle in a special little plate, like empty now.
Yeah.
Like putting
Definitely
it-
thoroughly washed out.
Yeah.
and I
Putting
want
it in
to
a special
say,
place in the
gals,
like.
I didn't get dressed up for nothing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, everybody should still definitely donate to the, it's not about the cause. It's just because she murdered somebody doesn't, it's fine.
And then we cut to you guys putting the empty vodka bottle in like a special place in your like Maven, like your room at the top of the bookstore,
Right.
and like next to like other weird objects that are like it's like this is like the Batman cave with like giant penny and like all that stuff that's like special little tokens from all of your mysteries you've solved. So
Right.
yeah. Well done, everybody.
Well done, Audrey.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, I
Yeah.
feel like I should have made it more exciting at points, but like there
No,
were
that
just
was cool.
not obvious places to be like, and then someone attacks you, like
Yeah.
so.
Oh, I thought it was perfect. Great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's tough to do like an open-ended mystery like that when you're not like, there's not a specific solution in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one was interesting because yeah, the like open, it really wants to be open-ended, like the way that the like scenario is written is like obviously super open-ended. And I think that sometimes like there was a point at which it felt like you guys really wanted to like have an answer, and it's like I can't, there isn't
Yeah, we
one.
gotta
Right.
make one.
Yeah. But I think it was really fun. What did you guys think?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I could just like hear the Murder She Wrote sort of like interstitial music.
Yeah.
Typewriter.
I really like the framework of thinking of it as a TV episode,
Yeah.
because you can, and I also I really enjoyed the beginning where you said, tell us the opening credit scenes.
Mhm.
I think that's great. You know, it puts a little more onus on us, and just thinking of the side swipe and the montage scene and all these other things, I think are great storytelling devices.
Mhm.
Totally.
Thanks. Yeah, it like the way it's written was really helpful with like helping structure it that way. But also like I think sometimes with like the open-ended stuff, it is the balance of like how much I should try and pull out of you guys can be hard too. So I don't know. I think overall it's a really fun game though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
I
it
can
would,
see how it would be fun to like play a long form campaign where there's like dark supernatural stuff emerging over time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of the clues that I didn't make sense. It was like, and this was a normal clue, but it was like a cod stuffed with a rat. And I was like, what? The void clues are really weird. It's like a fish dying, strange purple ooze seeping from its beady black eyes, or like a fish seemingly dead speaks a single word, void, which I guess I could have done it like the fish one. But like those are supposed to be clued to roles too, so it's yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
I-
that's super neat. I love that flavor that could come out eventually.
Yeah.
It made sense like this for a one shot to kind of not do that, but yeah, it's super neat.
Yeah, in retrospect, I wish that I had the dead fish like at Muriel while you were just standing there trying not to touch anything in the fish market. Yeah, I like it's a really like interesting, the like combination of the like two genres I think is like really interesting. And I think it would be fun to play a long form campaign,
Totally.
but I think it does have to be a long form campaign because you
Mhm.
can't, it's such a, I think it works because it's such a nice explanation of why people keep getting murdered in this tiny town.
Yeah, feels like a logical exploration of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like in the materials, there's like the cliffhangers that you can kind of end on, and then when you start your next session, you have your little like recap, like last week on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just really like the flavor of it. It's like the TV and the cozy and the spooky.
Yeah, and I will say like because the like situation details they give you are like this much, like prepping is like was nice because like there's not a lot to prep, so like in terms of that side of things that was nice.
I love that the mysteries have titles too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for watching, and Marissa, what are we gonna play next time?
It seems a little crazy, but I think we're gonna play Fiasco.
Great.
It seems crazy, but I think we're gonna do it. We're gonna try it.
Sounds good. All right, we'll see you guys later. So you guys go down there and like no one's here, so you're welcome to like,
Oh yeah.
you're sneaking, you're free to sneak.
Mm-hmm. Well, so first of all, we probably actually do need to use the bathroom. And then yeah, let's back to that.